This little dinosaur might end up on the cover of my next coloring book. I'm hand drawing every page and sharing the full creative process as I go. But first, let's see how this one comes to life from pencil sketch to ink to full color. Today, I'm sketching a Troodon, a dinosaur you might not hear as often about as the T-Rex, but it's cool in its own way. Scientists believe it may have been one of the smartest dinosaurs, not movie level smart or anything like that, but pretty clever for a prehistoric critter. It had a brain to body ratio close to a modern bird, which is kind of wild when you think about it. I start my sketch the same way I usually do, with a loose, simple outline. And if you're just learning to draw, that's the best way I've found to keep things manageable. I knew I wanted this Troodon to have a fun, cartoonish look, but still with enough claws and teeth to feel like a real dinosaur. I exaggerated the head and the one big round eye. That's intentional. It gives the character and personality to the critter, and it makes it a little more fun to color later. I lightly block in the pose, working from head to tail. The trick is not to press too hard. These are just guidelines for me. You'll see me pause and adjust a lot during this phase, and it's totally normal for the way I draw. Sketching is about figuring things out and making the drawing itself think itself out loud in a way. I don't worry about the perfection here, just energy and shape. So once I'm happy with the sketch, it's time to ink. I take a deep breath before this part because I still get nervous, but it's where the drawing really comes alive, and it's also where you can't hit undo. So I do get a little scared when I start inking. I like using a Stettler pigment liner, I think that's how you pronounce it, as a 1 millimeter. It gives me the wider lines I need. But the tool doesn't really matter, but I do need the thicker lines. This is going to be a coloring book. So I go steady and I follow the natural flow of the sketch. For curves, I rotate the paper some and I move my whole arm in an arc when I do the curves. It's a little trick for me that makes a huge difference in making it smooth. And I don't like using a tool a lot to get the curves, just because it's all free form. So this Troodon had a mouthful of serrated teeth, and I exaggerate those a little bit. Gave him feathers down the back and on his head and along the back of his arms. Just a little bit of emphasis for the shape and movement. I use thicker lines for the outline and thinner for the inner details. It gives some depth and a character. Now here's another fun fact. The name Troodon actually means wounding tooth because of the sharp hooked teeth. And that, I didn't make them really hooked, or I made it a little sharp, but not really hooked. But not scary. It's good for a coloring book, I think. If you're just starting out with inking, just keep the areas of the main picture bold and keep the rest a little bit thinner lines. It keeps the drawing a little dynamic and it helps guide the viewer's eye. Also, don't be afraid of accidents. Sometimes a small mistake can lead to a better idea, and sometimes you just have to start over, which I've done a couple of times. So now we're into the coloring section here, and that's where it transforms. For this drawing, I used a mix of water-based markers and alcohol markers. Each one behaves a little differently, and even after 300 videos of drawing and inking and now coloring, I'm still learning. I've had no formal art instruction, so I'm figuring this out as I go. I watch videos of people who are more experienced than I am to learn how to sketch, ink, and color. The same thing with video editing, lighting, and sound. It's never too late to learn something new, and it seems like that happens almost daily anymore. So with my coloring, I start with the background, the dormant volcano, the slopes, a glowing sun, and the snow-capped peaks there. And yes, I am aware of the color of the snow. It's a choice. Maybe it's reflection from the yellow sun. Who knows? So I use Crayola markers here because they're simple, they don't bleed too much, and they're easy to use. For the water and shoreline, I tried to give it some contrast and a little illusion of depth. And the greens, I like the greens I chose there. They weren't bad. I chose yellow again for the actual shoreline, just to even out the yellow from the top to the bottom. And then the lily pad, I don't know if there were lily pads, but I wanted something else in the water, so I put a lily pad. That's just, the choice you make when you're designing your own coloring page for people. And I'm hoping that people would enjoy coloring it. I had fun in coloring it. Going from a blank piece of paper to pencil drawing, inking, and then finally to the coloring. It was fun. The blues, I'm doing some blues here. Did a little lighter color around the rings in the water, and that kind of helped define the water a little better maybe. So for the Troodon, I switched to alcohol markers. They're great for making the Troodon's colors a little more livelier. I use them to shade the skin, bring out the texture and the spots, and highlight the claws and the belly. The alcohol markers, they lay down smooth and even, more so than the Crayola markers. Kind of gives it a better finish to it. A little coloring tip, always test your colors on a separate sheet of paper first. A lot of times I found that the color looks slightly different once it's down on paper. So you don't need a full marker set to create your masterpiece. Just experiment and see what you come up with. So the Troodon also likely had feathers, but we don't know exactly the color. I gave him maroon feathers because I felt like it. Sometimes it's not about realism, it's about fun, and this is my dinosaur after all. So I can color it the way I want to. As I draw each dinosaur for my coloring book, I'm also coloring them in not just for fun, but so I'll have 30 finished pages to choose from when I design the final cover. I plan to pick 3 for the back cover thumbnails and one standout for the front. It helps me see how each drawing works in color and gives viewers a behind-the-scenes look at the whole creative process that I'm doing. This channel isn't about pushing a product, it's about showing the real honest journey of building a coloring book from scratch, page by page. And I will be putting out a video soon about how it actually goes on Amazon. So thanks for watching this sketch ink and color for this Troodon. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Have a great, wonderful day.